Hello, everyone. Those who don't know me, I'm Kim. I'm the chair of PCPW, Public Child Protection Wales. And at this moment in time, we are taking the government to court. We're seeking a judicial review, of the comprehensive sexuality education, which our government are saying is relationships and sexuality education. And tonight I am joined by someone who I have been dying to get an interview with. This is Buck Angel, and I think it's really important, guys, you listening to this now, you share this, because this is incredible information. Before I pass you over to Buck, I just want to say, Buck, what I see from you, and this is what I say to the girls, I would have you down as a poster boy for this sex education. That's what I would have you down as. So tell us who you are, explain who you are, and then that will tell everyone why I believe you would have been the poster boy for this education.
Yeah, right on. So thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate you reaching out to me. This is a very important topic. So it does mean a lot that you found me. So my name is Buck Angel. I was born female, so I'm a biological female who transitioned to live as a man 30 years ago here in Los Angeles. And, you know, my life has been amazing as a transsexual man. I have nothing, it saved my life. I really believe it saved my life, but I didn't transition until, you know, my late 20s, 30 years old. So I lived like right now, pretty much, I just turned 60. Half my life I lived as a female and half my life I lived as a male. So, you know, I'm here today because I don't want to say I'm an activist. I'm not necessarily an activist, but I'm a person who cares about what I see happening with children. So I don't necessarily talk about adult space. Children, I see a very strange thing happening in your country as well as here in the United States with this form of, I don't know if I want to even use the word indoctrination, but on some form, this idea that we have to just all of a sudden start having this language and these teachings and this idea that everybody needs to be trans, and there's some really very dangerous things happening. So I'm here as an elder of the community and somebody who transitioned a long time ago and has thoughts and feelings about what's happening.
And what I love about you, Buck, is you've got a really good, strong platform and a strong following, and you put out some educational videos, so you share the truth of the journey of transition. The effects of the medication. You discuss a lot more than what the doctors discuss. That's what I get from your videos. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, I do, because so one of the things that did happen, again, and when I transitioned, nobody was transitioning, right? On some level, they used me as an experiment. The doctor even said, he actually called me a guinea pig, because they didn't even know what was the hormones were going to do to my body or the surgery. So I only had top surgery. Mastectomy, and I didn't have any bottom surgery. So that was always sort of like my platform in the world, is that I'm comfortable being a man without a penis. But that being said, I also had a very horrible thing happen to me from long-term use of testosterone, which was called atrophy. And atrophy almost killed me, which is the removal of estrogen from the vaginal area. And it can cause a lot of problems. And women get it. It's through menopause a lot of times. But for people like me, they didn't even know it existed. And it literally tore my system apart. I got septic. The doctor said if I didn't make it to the hospital in time, I would have died. I mean, it was horrendous. And so I really talk about that a lot. Yet here we are today, and you know that there's a ton of trans men getting atrophy. After I've educated about it, I put it out there, but the doctors seem not to care about, you know, the effects of testosterone is not natural to my body. Even though I look naturally male, it is not. It's a foreign substance that I'm putting in my body, and it's, you know, there's not a lot of long-term studies, and that was something that was very detrimental to me in my life, and it's been very scary to think about what are the next things that are going to happen to me.
Well, this is it. People are going to be wondering now why we're discussing transgender and things like that, because we haven't touched it on our platform.
Yeah, okay.
But it's a massive part of our education.
Yep.
So one of the things that we're going to be introducing is the gender theory. We've had some BBC videos saying there's 100 genders. Back in July 2020. They've come down. They've come down from 200. They've come down from 200. So they've reined it in a bit. So, yeah, this is a video that they did have on their education platform, that there's 100 genders. Back in 2020, we found statistics for Scotland that transgender treatment for 4-year-olds had increased by 80%. We now know transgender treatment for under 16-year-olds in Scotland has increased by 1,500%. There was a school in Brighton of age 11 to 16-year-olds, and back in July 2020, 187 of them did not know what gender they are. So
Wow.
this is why we are bringing this subject forward, and this is why we are bringing it forward from a place of experience, not 2 minutes experience, lifelong experience and truth. We want some truth, because we're not, I'm like you, Buck, I don't use the term transgender, it's transsexual, old school, whatever.
Yeah.
We fully support everyone, okay? Absolutely everyone.
I know. Yes.
But there is stuff going on here. As you know, we've adopted your education now. It's come from America. And the whole point of us speaking is because I want to show people a glimpse of the future. Now, what I've just said, those statistics, now a lot of people are going to be shocked by that anyway, because like I said, we don't discuss this publicly.
Yeah.
We've also got something called the sexual and reproductive rights. Everyone has now in the world, you know.
Sure.
But this is something that's being promoted in the classrooms in Scotland. And part of these sexual and reproductive rights mean the state can administer medication to your child without consent. Now, we've been told as parents by other parents, it's a load of nonsense. They can't do that. So what's happening in the States? What's happening in America?
Same thing. Look, first off, I'm a parent. So that being said, there's no way that I want my child, who happens to be 9 years old, a young boy, 9 years old, if they were teaching things at his school that I was not okay with, okay? Why would I be okay with no parents being able to opt out? I'm a parent. I on some level have responsibility for my child, and that's my child. It's not your child, it's my child. Until that child turns 18, I have no more responsibility. But at this point now, I have all the responsibility of his father to make sure that he is guided in a way that I see fit. So if I don't like something that's happening, how the heck am I not allowed to opt out of it? So when you have, which we're getting that here in California, the same nonsense that says that parents cannot opt out of this. No, I will opt out of it whether you like it or not. I'll rip my kid out of that school. So that, first off, is not okay, because that's taking away the rights of a parent. These are children. Now, is that called state-owned? Does the state or the country own our children now? People, wake up. Do you know how scary? That is actually scary. And you know what happens? They start with one thing. We all look at the history of the world. They start with one thing, which is this, and then it will go to another thing. And it will go to another thing until eventually we have no control over our children or even our own rights to identify how we need to identify. The fact that they're taking biology out of the equation. They're doing that in Wales, are they not? Taking biology off the table.
Yeah, well, this is it. Our 4 mandatory subjects now are English, Welsh, RVE, which is religion, values and ethics. And like I've explained, we're not a very religious country.
That's right.
And RSE, which is relationship and sexuality education. So those are the 4 mandatory subjects. Our government believe our children need to be healthy, happy, confident individuals.
Yeah, so do I. But how does that, how can you be a healthy, confident individual when you've literally disconnected kids from their parents? Here in the States, what they're doing is they're having these trans rights that say that if your child says they're trans, you're not allowed to push back on them. We have something called affirmative therapy, which is an oxymoron, if you ask me, because therapy is about pushing back on somebody. It's like, I went to 10 years of therapy before I even transitioned. Thank the goddess that my therapist pushed back on me. And that's why I've never looked back, and I'm a healthy transsexual person. Today, we see a ton of detransitioners because they're going to affirmation therapy, which says you have to say, yeah, you're trans if you're trans. That's not therapy. That's like paying somebody to say you're right. So that's dangerous because these kids are being told that they're trans when they're actually not. So they're taking hormones, they're doing surgeries here in the States. And then they're saying, uh-oh, I made a mistake. How is that in any way, shape, or form responsible? How are we as adults in the room being responsible for these kids when we're leading them down a path that might not even be their path? This is going to Wales. I see it happening there too. And so now parents have been taken out of the equation. You know, you can take your child away here in America. They can actually take your child away from you if you say that they aren't trans and you're not helping them move to that space. What?
So you tell us, what is trans? How would we know as a parent?
That's right.
You know.
That's right. So that's a great question. It's a very difficult thing because they're mixing everybody's brains up. That's what they're doing. And they're doing it on purpose. They're making it so you don't know what's happening. And then finally you just give up and go, okay, that's fine. They can do, because they're making it so you don't even know what trans is. Nobody does anymore. But that being said, it's why I reclaimed the word transsexual. I'm a transsexual person. So let me give you the definition of a transsexual person. A transsexual person is somebody who has gone to a doctor, a therapist, has spent maybe a year or two there, has been diagnosed with gender dysphoria, which is an actual mental disorder. And then to relieve the dysphoria, we move over to medicalization, which means I take testosterone and I have to use that on a weekly basis for the rest of my life to masculinize myself. Then I get something called surgery to masculinize myself. And then I change all my identification to male. So now that's a transsexual person, somebody who lives in the binary of male or female, right? So the opposite is for a man becoming a woman. We want to look, feel, and act like men and women and walk the world that way. We are not trans. Trans is our medical space. And so we are not trans. I'm not trans. I'm a man who has a transsexual medical condition. Transgender is an umbrella term for all of those. How many genders? 100? 200. Or that's why you cannot, there's no definition for transgender anymore because it's an umbrella term. That's the danger. And that's why I removed myself. And now in America, they say transsexual is a derogatory term, which is so insane. And just, it says to me, you're trying to eliminate what trans really is. And you're trying to indoctrinate all of these people into this way of being that isn't real. So that's the definition of a transsexual and a transgender person. And they're very, very different things.
So you said it was a mental disorder and you have to take these hormones to feel better.
That's right. That's right. So I feel like a man. And if anyone sees my life where I've done what I've done, you can see that I have become a better person. Prior to this, I was a drug addict. I was an alcoholic. I was homeless. I was smoking crack. I mean, it was insane, my life. Today, I'm a businessman. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a family man. I'm a million things, and I'm don't drink out. I'm just like this person, you know. And that's what I want the world to see. That this saved my life, and it's not a joke. And there aren't 5 million trans people out there. This is a very small space, and I don't understand how it became so big, other than the fact that these people are choosing it as an identity choice. Does that make sense? I never chose this. This is not an option for me. This was a thing that needed to be done to save my life. It's not something I choose to be, and I don't choose to be trans. So that's why people need to see the difference in somebody like me who has been diagnosed with an actual disorder that actually made me better because I have the diagnosis. If I didn't have the diagnosis, I would have never gotten better. And then you have transgender as an identity choice. So children are taking it on because it's the cool new thing to do. I get it. They're being sort of, you know, like, be trans. It's like, you know, we're all trans now. We're all non-binary. It's become sort of like a, you know, like punk rock or, you know, goth, or, you know, it's an identity. It's not a medical space like myself.
Yeah. And that's, you know what, that's really important.
Yes.
It's really important,
yes.
You know. This is a mental disorder which needs supporting. Right. It does need therapy. It takes time.
I keep saying it. I talk to parents all the time. Slow down. Now we have, we were talking earlier, we have a huge amount of detransitioners in this country. There's a group of 25,000 and growing, yet so this is where I'm like, wait, you know, that people need to understand, I'm very distanced from the community because I speak out against the things I don't see. I will not stand for that.
Vicious attacks, you know.
Oh, vicious. They hate me, but who are they? Exactly. Right? Because I have a lot of love from people like you and the rest of the world, because I'm honest, I'm truthful, I'm not backing down. I care about children. I don't care what an adult does. Honestly, if a 20-year-old kid cuts their boobs off, I'm sorry, my friend, but you should have done your homework, and I can't. But when a like 10-year-old or a 12-year-old is taking hormone blockers that could literally destroy their life for the rest of their life, I have to say something as a person who this saved my life. It did nothing but great things for me. We don't have enough research to be giving kids hormone blockers. We don't have enough understanding of what that even means for the future of this child. And look at me, I'm perfectly fine. And I didn't transition as a child. It's not like it's going to destroy that child's life. And let the child grow a little bit. Let the child have experiences. Let the child find them space. But to medicalize a child immediately is very disturbing for even me, because I don't see them using it here. It's a problem here. It's not a problem here, if that makes sense. It's a mental problem that we have to go to therapy. We have to figure it out. And then we have to medicalize in order to move forward. But that's not the way they're doing it. They're medicalizing.
But it's not a cure, is it? You know, like you said, you feel better, but you've got to continue the process to feel better.
That's right. That's right. I work on myself daily. I go to therapy. I focus myself. I eat right. I do all of these things to be a better person, but I will never be anything other than a biological woman. I completely understand that. But to the world, I look like a man, and I'm this man, and I'm very okay with myself because I work on my brain, and it's a constant space of working on yourself. This is not magic. All of a sudden, you're just like, I have to work on it. That's what these young people don't understand. It's not magic. You're not going to take hormones and grow a beard and then just be a man. There's 100% for the rest of your life. You will have to work on this disorder. And that's why I don't want to put a child into this space of disorder, and then they're not really that. And then we've just given them a problem that they never really ever had before.
You're dead against this whole idea of no parental opt-out anyway. You've expressed that. What do you think about the trans toolkit, the confidentiality section in there, and so what the school does? The school is told that they are not to tell a parent that a child has disclosed that they're trans. They are to provide the child with a different name, and they are to provide the child with a different uniform. We've also got 9-year-olds as well signing contracts in school promising to be kind to trans. So what do you make of this?
Oh, that is indoctrination, number one. Number two, oh my God, my language could be really I just want to say the F word. Blah, blah, blah.
It's fine, I'll clean off the 90 fine.
That's insanity. Insanity. First off, the fact that the fact that you're keeping secrets from parents, shame on you. That's number one, teaching a child bad behavior. If my child ever lied to me, no, he knows that. He's never allowed to lie to me, no matter what. No matter what. I won't hurt. I told him, it doesn't matter what you did. I will never be mad at you because you were honest to me, ever. I don't care if you even stole something at the store. I won't be mad at you. We'll have a conversation about it. We'll figure out why you did it, and you'll never do it again, but don't lie to me. So what is this doing? This is teaching a child to lie to their parents. That is at 9 years old. At 9. So now you're giving this kid this idea that I don't have to tell my parents everything. Yes, you do. And of course, let me back up there. There are bad parents. We all know that. There are horrible parents who could do really ugly things to their kids and not understand that they might be trans or gay or whatever is going on there. So yeah, but those parents are very far and few. I think most parents care enough about their kid to want to know what's going on in the school. How is that even legal? To actually tell a child not to tell their parents what's going on. I can't even believe that's legal. That is ridiculous and indoctrination.
We're actually being told that to safeguard our children, the number one thing we teach them is no secrets.
It's like literally hypocrisy. This whole thing is hypocrisy that you're telling me right now.
I've got to go into a court and explain this to a judge. You know,
Okay,
this.
so yes, and I get that. And so what I would do if I was standing up in front of that judge, I would say, do you have a child, judge? And how would you feel if your child was at school right now doing things, not necessarily trans, let's just say something else, doing things that you did not necessarily agree with? Let's say they were teaching your child about how to be a Muslim. And let's say you were not cool with that, but your kid wanted to learn it at school because the teacher told you had to learn it. But don't tell your parents that. How would you feel about that, judge? Right? So you have to sort of put the judge in a space of something he can relate to or she can relate to. That way it gets them in their own personal space. People need to start looking at it as their own personal space. How would you feel if they told your child not to tell things that are going on in school, or that they were dressing different, or that they were doing things that are not allowed to do at home, right? Like, all of that, none of it makes sense. That's why I think you really need to hit the judge in a personal space.
We're ice skating uphill on this. We don't get no media coverage. We've got to raise £100,000 to get this, you know, to take this the distance. The government has got a bottomless purse. It's obviously our purse.
That's your money. That's your money.
And
that's right.
You know, the lengths are they willing to go to take full control of our 3-year-old children. It's sinister. It's very, very sinister.
Yes, it is. You know, if I could come there, I would come with you and stand in front of that judge. I would stand there and I would say, look at me and listen to me. I'm one of the oldest living trans male out there. Do you know that? I'm actually one of the oldest living. And that's a big fucking deal. I don't care what anybody says. I made it this far. I'm 60 years old. I know a lot.
Really 60?
I just turned 60.
Wow, you are looking really well for 60. Really well.
So my point being is I'm not talking nonsense. I'm talking real lived experience. I'm talking about, I know a lot more than a lot other people than these 28-year-old kids who are leading the way. They don't know shit. They just transitioned 5 years ago. How do they even know what's going to happen in 10 years? I know what's going to happen in 10 years. I actually know. I know the dangers of taking hormones. I know the dangers of not having mental health care attached to it. And they're just leading these kids into a space of danger. They are, 100% they are.
What would you say? I've mentioned as well, you've got a friend in the UK, Debbie,
yes.
The head teacher, Debbie, and Debbie doesn't agree with this trans toolkit. So if you had a message, that's a trans head teacher that doesn't agree with it anyway. So, but we've got parents that's going along with it because they think that little minute population of the children needs saving. So what would your message be to parents in this situation that think it's not a problem?
Okay, so what I would say to you, the parent, is this. It's not a problem. What it is you need to look at your child as a unique child, not as a group of children. Your child is one child who is dealing with something. We don't know if it's dysphoria, if it's uncomfortability, anxiety. There's many layers of things that could be happening here. So for you to label your child trans right out the gate, number one, is a problem. Your child might have dysphoria. Number two, the most important thing you can do for this child right now is a therapist, not medicine, not any hormone surgery, blockers, none of it. You need to get this child into a therapist that is a non-affirming therapist, a therapist who will actually dig deep. It's tough. It's hard. It's what I did. It's why I'm here. You got to dig deep. There might be something else going on with your child. It does not mean your child is trans because they say they're trans. That's the number one mistake we're making. Every child says everything. We all know children say they want to be Mickey Mouse. Children say they want to be, a race car driver. They want to be everything. They're just hearing. They're hearing trans. So they're thinking that they need to belong to the space. Now, that being said, I'm not saying that every child who says it isn't. There definitely are children out there who could be trans kids, 100%. But I think they're far and few. I don't think there are as many because I don't think we're doing the homework and we're not doing this sort of, this is a layered space. It's a very much of a a system. You have to get your kid into a system, and your kid is not going to kill themselves if that's what you're being told. Your kid might have suicidal ideation, but they're not going to necessarily kill themselves. You can't put that in your brain. You've got to get your kid to a therapist, and you got to love your kid and you care about your kid. But I really highly suggest you don't just start pushing him through the medical system because somebody told you that's the way to go.
That's it. What we find here is we've got a lot of pushy parents as well. Parents seem to enjoy this kind of
Yes.
attention. Are you
Yes.
seeing much of that there as well?
Oh my God, there's some crazy lady here in America who's her daughter's kind of famous. She was the mother that put her child in the remember National Geographics? Her male to female child was on the cover of a huge magazine and an HBO special. And so I'm like, and so now she's attacking me because I'm saying, wait a minute here. Not all kids are trans when she's like, she actually called me transphobic. I was like, wow, you're the mother of a trans kid and you're calling me transphobic? Like, you're whacked. She's wacky. Yeah. She's totally wacky. Munchausen. I think on some level, some of the parents really feel like they can take these kids and like put them on the internet. Who puts their kid on the internet? That's like disgusting and gross. And it means to me, look, I know parents of trans kids and they're real trans kids. They're real parents. They're real loving. I see the kids are growing up beautifully, amazing. They don't put their kids on the internet, and they're not talking about their kids in a way that's like a poster child, right? This woman is a little bit loopy. And she's just been very mean and disgusting towards me. So so to me, that says a lot about her.
Right. There's so we are being told that this education has to come in because of LGBTQE plus whatever. It has to come in for that. And we also get in then I hate this term. We also get in then, why aren't the LGBT people standing up against it? My argument is this. Because a gay person isn't necessarily LGBT. A gay person is getting on with their life.
That's right.
Why would they come out to their houses now shouting and screaming about this? Nope. They're just getting on with their life.
That's right.
You know, this is a small, tiny percentage of people who are getting their knickers in a twist.
That's right.
And getting airtime instead of jail time.
That's right.
There's a lot of confusion out there, and there's a lot of wokeness. This is an agenda. Is this something that should be on the curriculum on every single lesson from age 3? Nope.
From age 3, maybe high school, maybe even, middle school, we can start talking about like, LGBT, but in a very low thing. The way that they're doing it in Wales is so insane. It looks indoctrinating to me. LGBT community is very small. It's not big. Trans is very small. Why are they making it the majority of the conversation and confusing other kids? This doesn't need to be a platform in a school system. It needs to be a thing that says there's people in the world that live differently. Like there's transsexual people, gay people, Black people, and they're different kind of people. And we need to say that that's okay and move on.
Why do we need to explain? Like you live as a man, okay? Why do we need to explain that you're a transsexual man unless you're going to be showing your genitalia to children?
That's right. The whole point of me transitioning is so you don't know I'm a transsexual man. Nobody knows I'm trans. When I go down to the market, you think people know I'm a trans man? They don't have a clue. That's the whole point of transition. That's why people like me are not feeling connected to that, because trans is not my identity. These kids are being led into an identity of trans. And so I see a bigger picture. I see something that's scary to me, and I see what's happening here because my community has been literally taken over by a bunch of wingnut people who want to make everyone trans. Like everyone's trans now. I'm like, it's going to come back on us tenfold. It's going to actually destroy what I have built. It's going to destroy our community. People hate us more than ever. It's not making things better. It's making things worse. Because we're making
I think is we've got a system where we victimize and demonize. They've got over victim and they've got over demon. And it's just playing people off against each other. I've noticed, a massive split amongst the LGBT platform.
That's right.
Here we've got LGBT Alliance being taken to court by Stonewall to remove their charity status. It is.
But why? Why does Stonewall care? so much that there's an LGB Alliance. By the way, I'm a member of. So that being said, because that's a sexual organization, it has nothing to do with trans. So I agree.
And it's also a protected characteristic in the Equality Act.
Thank you. Thank you. So why is Stonewall spending money that they could be spending on healthcare for trans people that they care about so much, right? If you cared so much, you'd be putting the money into trans healthcare. But now you're spending a shit ton of money on the LGB Alliance, which should have nothing to do with Stonewall. You see what I mean? So people need to see there's an agenda attached to Stonewall. Stonewall's a crappy organization. They have literally lost their minds. They do weird stuff that has nothing to do with helping all of us. It's only about trans people now. So you know what? Forget it. Then the LGBT people need to move over here. I'm part of the LGBT community. I am totally a part of that.
Well, England is starting to see a little bit of sense on this whole Stonewall thing. But in
That's
Wales, our leader is always in competition with England. They try to make out that we're enemies. We're not enemies. Just they try to make out that we're in opposition. We're part of the United Kingdom. So we've got Mark Drakeford here with his foot on the gas. We've got Stonewall again funding from each local authority, which is 22 local authorities.
Wow.
Plus they again a lump sum from the government, which is an undisclosed figure because they don't think it's in the public's interest to know how much it is.
Well, why don't you make I don't know how you do that in that country, but here we could put in a request and it has to be public. So
we did just said it's not in the public's interest.
Oh, you got people on that board who do not like you and who have an agenda attached to it. You need to get some new people in there. It's not an equal board. It's literally, yep, it's a biased board. That's not fair. That is actually not fair. Wow. We
are in a really difficult situation here in Wales, but like I said, we haven't had lesson content like they've had in Scotland and England. So I think the people here don't seem to understand the severity of this.
They don't.
And how ugly it can get, you know?
They don't. Clearly they don't. That's why you got to keep pushing your voice out. It's the only way we're going to make change, by connecting with each other like how we are right now, and really just putting out facts. Facts will always win. That's why this is happening right now. But I might really, in my heart, I see it all crashing. And then who's going to be held responsible? This is what I say all the time. I have a medical condition. I need my medicine. I need my stuff. And these people who are just using our system are killing us here in America, because all these states are banning trans healthcare. That affects me too. So they don't see what they're doing as a very detrimental thing. They're not helping our community in any way, shape, or form. They're killing a lot of us because they think doing stuff that they're doing in your country is killing us. It's not helping us in any way at all.
It's not. And it is going to incite hatred, you know. Everybody's protective over their children. And when somebody's child then falls victim to this agenda, that's when it is going to be a bloodbath. And innocent people are going to get hurt. Nobody at the top is going to get hurt. No one single person.
That's what I say all the time. I you know, all the trans people now and the kids who are transitioning, who detransition or just decide to go on with their lives and they never were trans. Who do you think's left to clean that up? Me. And all of us who actually are trans, we're going to have to clean up a huge mess. That's why I sit here going, half of these kids who are being indoctrinated into the space who are not trans at all, but they're using this identity because they're lost. And then they're going to detransition in 5 years. And then all of that stuff is going to come back on people like myself. And so, no, I'm not going to let this happen, especially watching children being put in a space that was never theirs in the first. Just go read one detransition story. You'll be in tears. You'll be crying. You'll be like, how are we letting this happen? Where are all the adults in the room?
Exactly. And this is it. I feel that we are being, our right to protect has been taken away.
That's right.
And
that's right.
We really are running out of options. I'm really sorry for this noise. My dog.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel that, well, we know we're on a slippery slope anyway. And what I really wanted was this opportunity to kind of show people, you know, that this is real. This is really bad in the States. Like I said, we haven't had the lessons here yet. We have had some lessons, but not really, really hard and heavy. Everything is lined up. The trans toolkit has been used. The children now have sexual and reproductive rights. We have no rights. We're bigots or TERFs.
Oh my God. And then that nonsense, TERF. Who invented that word? Trans people invented that word.
Well, the thing is, like, you know, sticks and stones will break my bones.
That's
Names
right.
will never hurt me. So it's,
Right.
you know, if you're easily offended, you're easily manipulated. And I think that sums up people that are shouting this from the rooftops.
Yeah.
You're easily offended because you've been manipulated.
That's right. That's why they don't like me, because they call me TERF all the time because I believe in women's rights. I'm like, excuse me, I lived half my life as a woman. I will never forget that space ever. I actually think I'm a better man for it on some, but how dare we try to eliminate women's rights? Trans women are not women. They are trans women. Stop saying that. That is actually disrespectful to the trans space. You're a woman. I'm a trans man who's actually a biological woman. So if anyone's going to say trans men are women, it should be that way.
Yeah.
So
yeah, well, this is it. We need to come together. We've got to get this information out there. Like I said, we are concerned. Our 2 sex education documents out of the 14,000 words, boy, girl, man, woman, male, female has no mention. Wow. Gender is mentioned over 60 times. Wow. We've got gender fluid uniform, so we don't have unisex anymore now. It's, you know, this is indoctrination. They are using this terminology to make you think we're being this inclusive and friendly and everything else. It's just a farce. You hear it.
How is it inclusive? How is it, how is it inclusive when you're eliminating man and women? A woman, how is that inclusive? It's not. It's far from inclusive.
It's exclusion. You know, it's
that's right. Exclusion. That's right. That's right.
And if people can't see this anything other than an agenda, there's nothing really we can do for them, you know?
Well, that's why we just have to keep speaking out. And little by little, I change people's minds daily. People write me constantly and say, thank you for standing up. Thank you for speaking out. I get it now. And they respect me because I am an elder and I do have experience. I'm not just talking out of my butthole. I'm just actually really saying things that actually I experience. And, I will stand with you because I see your mission and I see what you are trying to do. You're trying to come back to reality. We cannot teach children that men and women don't exist. That is unbelievably ridiculous. The 99% of the world identifies as men and women. 99% of the world. So if we're teaching kids something that's 1%, how is that even fair? That's what I don't understand. That's what people need to really.
It's not ethical, is it?
It's not.
It's totally unethical.
It's not. It's not.
Okay, well, I'm going to try and wrap this up now and stop the recording. But we just want to give everyone a shout out. If anyone is on this journey and you want to follow Buck Angel, you can find him on Twitter, YouTube. He's got a website, lots of information. If you're going through this journey with your children, you want some advice. If you're an adult, you want some advice, please look up Buck. Like I said, I've got lots of information from him. When we're traveling around the country, I'm always talking about stuff you said in your videos.
Thank you.
And I just think you're an inspiration. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for actually standing up and speaking the truth.
Thank you.
That's
it means
what
a
this
lot
is
to
about.
me.
It's not about being right wing, left wing. It's about doing right.
It's about the truth. And I'm telling you, I'm only here because of the kids. Like I said it before, what adults can do what they choose to do. I am here for the children. I care about those kids. I'm a parent, and we cannot be treating children like they're just some commodity and they're just some kind of thing that we can try this medicine on. Whose kids are we experimenting on? Not my kid. So we need to figure some stuff out. But I appreciate you very much. I appreciate that you care. I appreciate that you keep moving forward in the world, and together we can make the change that is the correct sort of change.
That's what it's about now, you know. Technology speeds things up, but at the end of the day, we can use it to our advantage as well and speed up getting this message out there. Our children need us right now.
That's right.
They really do. You know, this is not an overreaction. This is not prude parents. Our children genuinely need us to stand up and say no.
Enough is enough. I'm standing up as a transsexual. Yeah, there's no negotiation. As a trans, I will not be part of that agenda. That is not right. And I don't care what people think about me. I really don't, as you know that. And so I'm not trans to be, you know, part of a community. I'm a human who cares about people and cares about making a better world and coexisting. That's what I care about. I don't care about being trans. Like, everyone needs help and we all need to coexist and figure it out. So thank you so much for caring. It means a lot to me.
Oh, thank you so much for doing this. Our team will be absolutely thankful. We're also thankful. And I'm going to end the recording now, guys. But that was Buck Angel. Again, I can't thank him enough. I've stalked him long enough on Twitter. I do hope, I understand you're very, very busy, Buck, but I do hope that maybe we can reconnect another time.
Of
And like I
course.
said to everyone, please follow Buck. He is the man for this information. He's been in this game a long, long time.
Yeah.
He is what we should see as a poster boy. But the poster boy is saying no. If the poster boy is saying no, he's saying no for a damn good reason. Thank you all for watching, guys. Keep up the fight. Keep up the momentum. Keep sharing this information. And we will do it. Let's put this country on the map for all the right reasons. Thank you all for watching.